Eric Marin, do you have any recommendations for pirate fiction novels? Well, as it happens, I do. Raphael Sabatini. I'm not going to go all the way back to Robert Louis Stevenson. We all know that. Raphael Sabatini was a writer. He wrote for the Slick magazines. He wrote novels, and a highly regarded novelist, best-selling novelist, back in the early part of the 20th century. And among all of the period swashbucklers, he wrote like Scaramouche and others set in the French Revolution and set in the English court. He wrote two terrific, iconic pirate novels, Captain Blood and The Seahawk, both of which were turned into excellent Errol Flynn movies. And these are rousing, sword-slashing, bodice-ripping, romantic adventures. Captain Blood I read when I was in junior high, basically because the cover looked so good. I told you before, that's how we bought paperbacks. Hey, great cover. And I was familiar with the movie, but the novel knocked me out. Guy writes with a lot of authority. I don't know anything about Raphael Sabatini. I don't know if he actually was a sailor or knew anything about what he was talking about, but it all seemed real to me. And, so I can highly recommend Mr. Sabatini. James L. Nelson, who's obviously really into pirates, I got interested in Nelson when he wrote a series of novels about the American Revolution, the Navy, the beginnings of the American Navy in the American Revolution, and they were excellent. Muscular writing, written with authority. This guy sails in three-masted ships, and he's able to impart that knowledge to landlubbers like me to make it evocative and interesting and exciting. And I love those novels, so I was really, really into it when he wrote a series of pirate books. And these are classic stuff. Broadsides and boarding parties and all the rest of it. The pirate round, a lot of these take place in the Indian Ocean. The pirate rounds historically were the Mughals. The Mughals ruled India in the 1600s and into the 1700s. And they were basically Muslim dictators ruling over. They were the descendants of Genghis Khan and the Mongols, and they converted to Islam. They ruled India for centuries, and they ruled over the majority Hindu populace. And each year they would make a pilgrimage to Mecca. And in doing so, they would leave India, cross the Indian Ocean, to the Arabian Peninsula, usually in enormous ships loaded with gold and silver and gems and slaves and all the rest of it. And this became a rich hunting ground for the pirates of the day, including, the very real Captain Kidd. This is where James L. Nelson sets these novels. Some of it takes place in the Spanish Main, but for me the most fun was the stuff on the African coast and in the Indian Ocean, and just good stuff. And because he's a sailor, he does sail three-masted ships, like Sabatini, well, even more so than Sabatini. He writes with a great deal of authority, but he's able to make everything clear so that people like me can understand what the hell he's talking about. But just good, rousing stuff. I can't recommend them high enough. My favorite pirate novel, though, is this guy only wrote one. Nicholas Griffin. He wrote The Requiem Shark. This is as close to literature as a pirate novel gets. He takes a fresh look at the period. There's a lot of period detail. He spent a lot of time studying the language of the day, the way people talked. It's very much written from the point of view of the period. There's a lot of shocking stuff happens in this book. It's violent and nasty as these days were. It's an accurate, to my mind, an accurate portrayal of what the pirate life was probably mostly like. And it gets pretty grisly and nasty, but it has all the elements of a swashbuckler as well. It's exciting and suspenseful, and the characters are engaging and all the rest of it. So I cannot recommend The Requiem Shark by Nicholas Griffin highly enough, and his other novels. He wrote one about the plague that's excellent. So check out Nicholas Griffin and The Requiem Shark.